So welcome to Chapter 4. In this chapter, we're going to look at the American Society for Landscape Architects Toolkit for Socially Sustainable Planning. Just to explain who ASLA is, if you're not familiar, it's the professional organization for landscape architects in the United States. It was founded more than 122 years ago, and it provides its members with continuing education, resources, advocacy, thought leadership, and many other services. So landscape architecture as a profession has always included a concern for social well-being. Frederick Olmsted was early on an advocate of parks as a way to provide benefit for everybody in the community and to be a democratic force, not just for the wealthy few. But exactly how a design space impacts how people interact with it and each other is something that's getting a lot more attention in the field now. It wasn't necessarily the focus early on. ASLA's definition of social sustainability is, and I quote, "the development of resilient communities that meet residents' health and social needs over the long term. In a socially sustainable community, residents are empowered, have equal access to green, healthy spaces, can choose among multiple transportation options, and enjoy a high quality of life." So let's have a look at ASLA's toolkits for sustainability. Landscape architects work at all scales, and so these kits provide different tools for each of those scales. These are free and available at asla.org. For each of these, I'm going to give you a real-life example of a space at that scale and some examples of the tools provided by ASLA. Let's look at the regional planning scale. This can be one of many things, a collection of towns, a tri-state area, or even a larger scale. At the regional scale, local governments need to have a community-centered framework to implement good practices that connect communities and also protects cultural and social assets like historic landscapes or other identities that foster connection to place. So here's a great example. This is again from my hometown on the Ohio River on the Indiana side. This infrastructure has been absolutely transformative for recreation in the Louisville metropolitan area, and it's a catalyst for other projects. So many other great things have grown out of this. It connects a pedestrian bike bridge across the Ohio River and has revolutionized safe bicycling in the area, both for commuters and sports people. It makes it safe and pleasurable to cross the mile-wide Ohio River. It also connects two states, Indiana and Kentucky. So here's some of the tools that ASLA suggests for regional social sustainability. And this section focuses quite a lot on air quality benchmarking, but also health metrics like diabetes, obesity, food access, and so on. Now let's look at the city planning scale. So I referenced Bogota's city planning before. As I mentioned, they're leading the way, along with other Colombian cities, in establishing that a cycling network and strong public spaces have multiple benefits. They reduce air pollution, they increase social interaction, they reduce crime, they facilitate transit, and they provide economic opportunity. So infrastructure upgrades like what took place here can absolutely transform a city's social sustainability. So you can see, in addition to improving transportation, they also improved utilities, put in a rapid bus system. And one of the things that's gone along with this, without any additional policing measures, is that violent deaths have decreased by more than 40%. That's a pretty incredible statistic if you think about it. So here are some resources that look at transportation alternatives to private cars. Also, the National Park Service's Community Toolbox is a terrific roadmap for how to build effective communication with the community in planning and design. Then looking a little bit closer, zooming in at the neighborhood scale. So there's a great emphasis on communities having healthier and more active lives because, of course, that's connected to enjoyability, quality of life, quality of community, quality of place, health, social connections, all kinds of things. There's so many factors that feed into people having healthier, more active lives. It's economically healthy because there's fewer days lost to illness off the job. Healthy cities and communities are ones that offer their residents a range of transport, recreation, and housing options, so they're diverse in terms of the amenities that they offer, and they all contribute to longer, healthier lives. So we referenced this project before with Jan Gehl. Just as the Augustenburg case study showed that the tendency to flood could actually be turned into an advantage, Jan Gehl and his team, as you recall, looked at informal settlements, and they celebrate and elevate their sometimes chaotic, but always dense, small scale, and very livable nature as highly active community spaces. So instead of proposing that they be changed to be more like typical, formal, traditional planned housing, he advocates to inventory and elevate their strengths while improving things like recreation, transport, and utilities. Neighborhood scale social sustainability stretches across health, walkability, things like bicycle level of service, which is a nationally used metric for on-road cyclist comfort, which takes into account things like speed limit, width, existence of bike lane, and so on in determining how good a street is for cycles. It's a great answer to city or community agencies creating inadequate and unsafe bicycle infrastructure. We've all seen those painted lanes that in fact create more likelihood of traffic violence than it reduces. Walk score, of course, is also a really critical factor in determining quality of life in a neighborhood. Then look at landscape or site scale, public squares, small parks, common spaces in a residential or retail development. So we're going down to a much smaller site. This is a great little park in a former brownfield remediation in Portland. It was in a high-needs neighborhood, a community-driven process years in the making. It also eliminates a harmful site in addition to adding a park. It includes trails, a great playground, lots of covered seating to accommodate those really rainy Portland days, which there's a lot of. Prior to its acquisition, it was a landfill. It was permanently closed in 1990, and it was taken over by the Department of Environmental Quality. Parks and Rec purchased the property and brought in a master plan in 2009. It wasn't opened until 2018. These things do take a long time. It's a $12 million price tag, and it completely transformed the area. It won an Oregon Brownfields Redevelopment Award in 2018, and it is a huge asset for a community that didn't previously have a park and is one of Portland's most diverse neighborhoods. So these tools allow you to address accessibility, a very complex subject because there are so many kinds of disabilities, both visible and invisible. SITES is a rating system that guides and evaluates and certifies a project's sustainability, and it also helps implement nature-based solutions. So it's a really fantastic initiative. And it also protects biodiversity, mitigates climate change, conserves resources, and improves public health. So now that we've reviewed these tools, let's move on to see how two cities dealt with incredible catastrophes and how they were able to build resilience and come back better.